So, limit. Never would have expected to sink 64 hours into it, but you know what? I've had a great time over those 64 hours. All the footage in this video is recorded by me on New Game Plus 3, because I'm insane enough to play through this game 4 times. And I've had a really good time. Honestly, getting the footage for the video and just simply playing through the game again. Let's rank the bosses from worst to best. Starting off with the number 24 spot, we have Necro, Wanderer of Undersea. This is easily the worst / most boring boss in the game, in my opinion. It literally doesn't do anything. I mean, it's an optional boss, so you're not forced to fight or anything, but it's so out of the way and unnecessary. I just kind of question its existence. Literally all it does is walk around slowly in this giant arena and just spawn a bunch of enemies, Necro-related enemies to be specific, and you just smack its legs until it dies. I mean, you can make it fall over every now and then if you hit it enough, and it doesn't really do anything, as if it was doing anything before, and you just get a bunch of free hits, even though the whole boss fight is just free hits essentially. It has a massive HP pool, whether you're on New Game or New Game Plus or whatever, so it takes forever to fight, and doesn't really drop anything too interesting, if I'm being honest. Nor have I really been able to find any sort of major lore behind its existence, so that is why I would easily put this boss at the last spot. Going into the 23rd spot, we have Inspector of the Uncharted Realm. This boss is, number one, a repeat boss, but a little stronger, and number two, doesn't really have anything new to it that I could notice other than just more damage and health, if even that, I guess. This one's probably my least favorite, simply because it teleports around a lot, although it was nerfed in a recent patch. He still does it a lot. He doesn't really do anything too interesting other than just some range attacks. He has one big attack where he almost crushes the entire arena in lightning. And if you're close to him, he sometimes uses a melee attack, which, you know, isn't really much. It's pretty easy to parry, as a matter of fact, and also just dodge. He doesn't do too much. He is cool in concept, but he is just a repeat boss, and doesn't really offer much. Going into the 22nd spot, it is the Winged Punisher, aka an enemy, both golden wings now. The enemy is essentially the same. It has like 1 or 2 new moves, and that's about it. You see a lot of these guys before you even fight this guy, leading up to him, and they're not too bad. You know, they have a big HP pool, they're kind of difficult, but they're not like too hard. So if you're able to kill those guys, you're definitely able to kill this guy, and he doesn't really do much of anything, especially when you're near the end of the game. Coming in at 21, we have Saint of Gold Knight. Again, another repeat boss, though from earlier in the game, and it still has the same problems that I would, or will, I should say, mention earlier in the video. But there's, again, not really much to say on it. There's not much to say about these repeat bosses, because they're essentially the same, just a little stronger, a little more HP, if even that. And they're essentially just the same, just with golden wings, I guess. Coming in at number 20, we have the Seraphim of Zulfur. Again, another repeat boss, though this is the last one, I swear, near the end of the game. There's 4 near the end of the game. And I would say that this one is probably my favorite because the original version was already a really cool and fun fight to me. And this version is just that fight again, but he has some new moves, he's a bit harder. But again, that is all it really is, and since you're near the end of the game, you're wrong to take him out quickly. Coming in at number 19, we have the Sewer Cleaner. This is the very first boss in the game that you will see and kill, and it's just a normal enemy, but with a boss bar slapped onto it. and it has pretty low HP, it's pretty standard, and it basically acts as a tutorial boss, although I personally think it doesn't even need to exist, and it is way too easy, doesn't do a lot. It's not really worthy of a tutorial boss. I feel like the boss after this does a much better job at being a tutorial boss. It does drop the railgun, but honestly I think it would be better if you had just picked up the railgun from like a dead version of this guy in the same room, or just something like that. But I don't really feel it needs to exist, if I'm being honest. Next up we have the Saint. This is the first version you see, while the endgame version is the Saint of Gold Knight, and I'll talk about that problem I was talking about earlier that I said I would mention later. You can just kind of stand really close to this boss and a lot of his attacks will just miss for some reason. I'm not sure why this is the case, but honestly most of the time it just feels like I'm fighting Necro, Wanderer of the Undersea. But I have to be a little more careful. A lot of the times when I get up too close to this boss, it just can't hit me. And when it does fly away, I can just get back in close pretty easily and they just smack it more and more and then stagger it, and it doesn't really feel like much of a fight at all. Not sure why you can do this, but otherwise I think the fight's cool, but that's really it. You don't even have to fight it that much, and it has cool looking moves at most, but nothing too crazy. Coming in at 17, we have the Winged Colossum. This is basically just the Saint, again, for the second time you see it in the game, but it's a bit cooler. It has giant wings, and instead of just kind of sitting in place, it'll fly from one side to the other while you hide behind stone, and he will allow you to hide behind him and run up to it. Unfortunately, it is still the exact same as Saint, essentially, where if you sit up close to it, all of the attacks just miss for some reason. I'm not sure why this happens with this boss specifically. It seems to happen less with the Saint of Gold Knight, so I'm not sure why these two are affected by this, but again, you can just sit up right in front of it, behind it, beside it, literally anywhere, and most of the attacks will miss. And they're also really easy to dodge, so there's not much thought put into it, alongside the fact that you have stone helping you. Coming in at 16, we have Choirmaster the Inspector. Choirmaster and the Inspector of the Uncharted Realm are essentially the same boss. I could not notice any new moves between the endgame version and this one, other than them doing more damage, I guess, and the endgame version having giant golden wings attached to it. They're essentially the same boss, and they are both going to be rated low. Because, if I'm being completely honest, I don't really like this boss too much. All it really does is teleport from one side to the other of the arena, and then once you get up to him, you just smack him a whole bunch. He has, again, one melee attack. That's really about it. His attacks are cool looking. You know, he has lightning orbs, he has lightning. He, again, has that one giant attack that's honestly really cool. And I have parried it once before, which was a great feeling, but other than that, it's okay. Coming in at 15, we have Scavenger Patriarch. Honestly, I would say he is a good beginner boss. This is the third boss you'll fight in the game, although I would say is the second real boss, if I'm being honest. And I feel like he teaches you a good amount. He has a shotgun, so he's more of a range-based boss compared to the first real boss. And he has some attacks that can close the gaps pretty quickly alongside the first boss. First real boss, I should say. And I think he's overall pretty fun. He doesn't have much to him. You know, he's an early boss, but he's decent. He's fun to fight for the time, and not unfair or anything. Coming in at number 14, we have the Guardians of the Tree. This is just your typical gang fight, but wait a second, it's all full of bladers. These bladers guard the tree, and that's all they really do. They just guard the tree and they fight, and all they know how to do is fight. And you come in here and you just kill them, and that's really it. Some of them do use this cool weapon that they drop that has a really good skill if you haven't used it before. And it has the thrusting moveset for the, you know, the weapon, which is honestly really good. You know, the thrusting R2 for heavy attack, pretty good. Really good weapon. But other than that, they're just bladers that just use weapons, they fight you, that's really it. You have Malaire to help you out here during this fight, so she kind of helps from afar, or takes aggro for a lot of them, while you can just focus on like a group of them, maybe 1, 2, 3 if you're feeling devious. But that's all this fight really is, just a gang fight. But it's not a bad gang fight, it's not unfair, it's not unfun, it's just there. Coming in at number 13, we have Charon the Nurturer. I like the spectacle of this fight. I think it's a really cool spectacle. And it's kind of a gimmick fight. She doesn't really have a health bar. She's the only boss in the game to not really have a health bar per se, but more so a shield that you have to break, and then you have to do 3 viscerals, riposte, whatever you want to call them, on her, and she will be dead, and that's the whole fight. The reason I would rank her low is because the fight itself is what I don't really like. First off, you have her little bird that you have to kill, which is not too hard. It'll kind of spam attacks, fly around, but it's not like the hardest thing ever to kill. But what I don't like about this fight is that you have to smack her constantly to break her shield, obviously, makes sense. But a lot of the time, she will just hide over one of her squares in the floor, which you cannot walk into, because then you will get trapped in the little cage for seconds, a lot of seconds, and you will be open to an attack. She did this a lot. All of the times I fought her, which made the fight last way longer than it should have, and not really in a good way. The only way you can really hit her from this way is with a range attack, and there's not really any fast range attacks other than darts. But even then, if you do knock her out, and she gets staggered over a cube, then you can't get the visceral / riposte, whatever you want to call it, and then that wastes a turn, so now you have to spend another turn breaking her shield all over again, and there's a chance that she could do it again. Or a chance that a cube could spawn right on you as you break her shield, so then you're stuck in a little cage, and then you miss it, and then probably take a hit as well. Not really that fun in my opinion, but again, it looks super cool, it has a really good spectacle. It uses the trope of using the main theme of the game as a boss theme, which I think is really cool. The fight's just really cool, but in terms of gameplay, it is not for me at all. Coming in at number 12, we have Eunomia, the Resplendent. I didn't say that right. Coming in at number 12, we have Eunomia, Coming in at number 12, we have Eunomia, the Resplendent Bishop. This boss is pretty cool. You do have Phalia to help you out with this fight if you've done her questline and progress for here. And I would say it's a pretty cool fight, although it does have this weird quality that no other boss in the game has, in which if you kill the first phase and get to the second phase and die, you will continue the fight off at the second phase, which means the first phase is kind of useless once you get past it, which I think is really weird. You never really learn the first phase unless you're like me and you've played through the game 4 times, in which case you would kind of learn it by nature. But in terms of like actually having to learn the first phase, you don't really have to, because you'll probably get the first phase first try because it's pretty easy. It's easy to, you know, not get hit. Phalia takes aggro easily. And it's not too hard to parry, it's a bit fast, but it's not like crazy or anything. I'm not sure why this boss has that, it's really weird. But other than that, I think the fight's fun, I think it's cool. You know, you're moving around a lot, they're moving around a lot. Doesn't feel like they're moving around too much or anything like that. I think it's a good fight. It's just really weird that the first phase kind of just fades out of existence after you get past it. Coming in at number 11, we have Vicus. I honestly really enjoyed Vicus. I already really liked the Hunter Squad from that area, so having to fight one that is easily the most skilled out of all of them, I would say, was quite a treat. Honestly, pretty insane how a human, just a plain human, made it all the way to the end of the game, of all people. But I think that's really cool, and it's kind of a shame that he's the only boss in the game that spawns with 30% of his health missing. I honestly wish the fight lasted longer. Even on New Game Plus 3, I think it is too short. But I do like the little interaction at the end as well, where Orisa tells him to get back up and go with his gang, his clan. I think that's a nice little touch. Bit of character development there. But I think the fight's really fun, honestly. He mixes up his attacks a lot, they're fast. You know, he's a hunter at heart. He's great at what he does. I just wish he wasn't missing a part of his health. Coming in at the number 10 spot, we're in the top 10 now, oh boy, is Aether the Father. I honestly enjoy this fight. I've seen some people say that it's okay at best, but I really enjoy this fight more than Charon, that's for sure. He is kind of a slapfest, you do kind of just walk up to him and just smack him a whole bunch. But there's more to it than that. He has a giant hammer, he has the consciousness of all of the humans that are essentially in Elysium, which is seen as like this great place, but it's more so a prison, and he just uses their souls essentially as ammo to throw at you, and then they just explode on impact. Real great father, guys. Arlecchino is the real father we all know and love, truly. But anyways, back on topic. Yeah, he's a pretty fun fight, honestly. There are times where he does teleport far away, like really far away, but he does that pretty rarely, only for like one attack, and the other times he does teleport away, it's not like super far or anything. You'll get to him in like less than 10 seconds, maybe 5 seconds at most. And he doesn't really do any bullshit. He has some really cool looking attacks. The arena you fight him in is also really cool. Again, another really cool spectacle fight, but more action as opposed to Charon, which is more gimmick, I guess you would call it. So yeah, good fight, honestly. Coming in at number 9, we have the Three-Faced Pardoner. This is the first version you ever see of this boss, as opposed to the Seraphim Absolver all the way back in the game. The end game, I mean. And he's fun. I really like his moveset. I like the fact that he has a scythe. Scythes are cool. He has a cool get away from me move where he spins it around. He doesn't feel unfair. He's, you know, fun to fight. Unfortunately, he is really easy to parry. Like, stupidly easy to parry. With either materialism or the counter. Which, also, not sure if this is a hot take or not, but I honestly find parrying with the materialism way fucking better and easier than the counter. I use the counter exclusively for like New Game Plus 1 and just New Game and a bit of New Game Plus 2, but ever since I swapped to the materialism, I have not been able to go back. It is insane how good it feels to pair with materialism. What were we talking about again? Oh yeah, the fucking boss. Yeah, he's pretty fun. Coming in at number 8, we have the Hunter of Blighters. This is essentially just Ursula, but the first phase only. I couldn't really tell any differences between them, so I guess I'll just throw her here. I honestly had no idea where to put this woman. She's great. She is a blader fight, and the blader fights are some of the best fights in my opinion in this game. And she has a really cool moveset. She is very fun. She has fair attacks. And parrying her is not too easy, but it's not the hardest thing in the world either. It feels satisfying to do. It doesn't feel ridiculously easy, like Pardoner. And it feels good to pull off the parry alongside that, because some of her attacks are really hard to parry, and once you learn how to parry her harder moves, it's really fun. They also look really cool. And they originally did drop the frame rate when the game first came out, but, you know, not anymore, thankfully. So, solid number 8. Coming in at number 7, we have Necro the Panic Reaper. This is the boss you fight. This is the boss you fight after Scavenger. And I honestly think it is a great fight. It is a super fun fight. It's an amazing fight. Really gets you into the swing of things of, you know, some enemies being stupidly fast in this game or having long combos, as if the first 2 bosses didn't do a good demonstration of that. I honest to God think that Panic Reaper is a just amazing boss. It's fast paced, and I feel like you will learn that parrying is, if you weren't parrying already, I feel like you'll try and use it a lot more here. I don't know if it's just me, but the parries in this fight feel pretty damn hard to land. It's honestly hard to tell once you'll start the attack. She kind of delays her attacks a little bit, if it's even to her. And when you do get a parry on this boss, it feels immensely satisfying. Definitely more so than the moves that you've already fought at this time of the game. And I just think it's super satisfying to land parries on this boss, because they're a lot harder to hit, at least in my opinion. And like I already said, she's fast paced. You're going to be moving all over the place if you're not parrying. So even if you're trying to parry, you'll still be moving around a lot. So I will definitely say she is a solid number 7. For the number 6 slot, we have Lore, the Lost Lancer. This is the second boss in the game we fight, although I will say it is the first real boss, and he is amazing. He's an amazing first boss because he is the first kind of sign of what you're really getting into, as opposed to the sewer cleaner from earlier. He is fast, he has follow-ups that are a little bit delayed, so he'll always get you with them unless you learn them. I know when I first played the early demo before this game came out, his secondary attacks always got me because I never expected them, and they were a bit slower. But once you learn it's fun to dodge, you know, get out of the way, dodge through it, whatever. Also nice to hit the parry on them, if you can. And his second phase is also pretty amazing. He literally just turns into Horaloo, and Horaloo is already one of my favorite fights from Elden Ring. So, basically fighting him again, but in this form, is really cool. Like Necro the Panic Reaper, he is really fast, he can jump all over the arena. You can still parry him though, and the parries are also satisfying to hit, but it's not too easy, especially during his swiping attacks. He's very mobile and agile, and you'll be dodging a lot when you first play, or try and parry if you're confident enough when you first start off. So I think he's an amazing first boss and just an amazing boss in general, and I still had fun fighting him every single new playthrough. Oh boy, we're in the top 5. For the number 5 slot, we're going with Persephone, the Stygian Queen of Woe. I have no idea if I said that right, but I'm not doing a retake. Persephone is a really good boss. From what I can remember, I'm pretty sure she is the first boss to have a cutscene in the middle of the boss fight to transition into second phase. And not only is that just cool and really shows what you're going up against, but her boss fight is amazing. The only really critique I will say is that her wing hitbox is really wonky for some reason. I don't know if that's just me. Every time I've tried to dash through it, it doesn't matter if I do it early or late, it feels like it always hits me still. Even if I dodge to the side, I just kind of get smacked every now and then. It's really weird. I also don't know if it's parryable or not. Maybe I've just mistimed it multiple times, and it's already hard enough to try and parry. But it's just a really weird hitbox. I'm not sure what's up with it. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, who knows? I just think it's super weird for some reason. The rest of the fight, though, is incredible. Although I will say, it is pretty easy to just kind of get up in front of her like Saint. She does have some moves that she'll actually, you know, back away from while attacking or to get away from you. She has some get away moves. Sometimes she'll swipe you with her fist or her entire arms, which when she uses her arms, it's a bit hard to parry. Pretty simple to dodge, but trying to actually parry it is kind of hard, so hitting the parry on her arms moving is pretty satisfying. Then when we jump into the second phase, oh boy, it gets great. She gets more laser attacks if she didn't have enough already. She starts moving around a lot more. She becomes... It's kind of like... In a weird way, it's kind of like... Her first phase is kind of like fighting a hunter from Bloodborne, and then second phase is kind of like fighting a beast, also from Bloodborne, if that makes sense. That's how I kind of see her anyway. And the final move she does where she blows herself up and then you have to go up to her little orb of life, whatever you want to call it, and then get a visceral / repulse on it. Absolute cinema, honestly. It looks really cool. It made me blind the first time because of how bright it was. But it was a super cool spectacle, especially after the area you just went through with so many Necros and church enemies fighting. I just think it was really cool, and also it's a really fun fight. Another fight that I have thoroughly enjoyed through every playthrough, and gives a lot of health so the fight doesn't feel too short or anything. For the number 4 slot, we have the Cleansing Knight. Maybe this will come to a surprise to some of you, maybe it won't, but I personally think this fight is one of the best fights in the game. It is super fun. I remember the first time I encountered this boss, I literally didn't want the fight to end. And if I died near the end, or sometimes I'd even die on purpose, just to fight this refight. That made no sense. Just to fight this boss again. It was that fun of a boss fight, and it still is. The multiple times you get to refight this boss in the game honestly, to me, are a blessing because I love this fight. Do I think it's a bit weird to have like 3 to 4 copies of the boss around? Yes, it kind of takes away from how much of a cool fight this was, but you get to fight the boss again, so that's cool enough, I guess. This fight is really cool. I love the gigantic tornado attack it does, where it does an overhead on you that you can parry, and it is super satisfying to parry, might I add. His attacks are pretty fun to dodge. You know, he's fast, he moves around. I feel like I've been saying that a lot, but he moves around a lot. He has a charge attack that is also pretty satisfying to parry. Sometimes the weapon hits you early and you can fail it pretty easily, but if you hit it, it's nice to stop him in his tracks. And one of the most fun things I feel like you can do in this fight is parry back his beams, especially when you're far away. The beams guaranteed stagger him, but if you're far away to the point where he shoots out multiple beams, you can parry all of those beams back at him and not only get a bunch of free damage if you actually get the parries, but he also just kind of sits there for a while before he does anything else, like charging or something. And I think that is super fun. There's one attack that I think that is a bit weird to dodge, maybe it's just me, but it's the attack where he spins around in a circle and then does a slash that throws out a beam. I swear I always get hit by that attack, no matter where I dodge. It's really weird. I've also tried to parry it before, and I've maybe hit it like once. I don't know, I feel like the hitbox just triggers like early or something, but it's probably just me. I just feel like it's really weird to dodge, kind of like a Persephone's wing situation, but yeah, super good fight. Coming in at number 3, surprisingly enough, to most people probably, is the Hunter Squad. I honestly really enjoy this fight. I think it is a great gang fight, and it kind of reminds me of the Black Rabbit Brotherhood from Lies of P, if any of you have seen or played that. It is a gang fight done right. The fight doesn't feel unfair, it doesn't feel like you're getting gang banged in the corner with nothing to do. There's one main big guy who's slow with attacking and moving in general, with 2 smaller guys that come out when his HP gets low. And even though the big guy is still around, there's some trees you can use as cover to slow down his movement towards you, or just straight up stop him from moving, because he's pretty stupid, and kill the other 2 guys solo. Or you can try and bum rush the big guy to get both of them to spawn and try and kill them together, or one by one that way. Or just, you know, get the big guy low enough, kill the other guy, get him low some more, kill the other guy. There's multiple ways to go about the first phase of this fight, which I think is great, and it feels fair because you not only have cover to utilize to try and take care of them one by one, or not get hit by the range attacks of one of them, but it's easy to single them out, which I think is really important. Then we get to the second phase of this fight, which is basically a blader fight in my opinion. This Hunter is really strong. He's more akin to Vegas, which I already found really fun. And this guy is just, he is nuts. He is fast, he does constant attacks, he has long combos. He is ridiculous, I would say, but he is a good kind of ridiculous. He is super fun to fight. He doesn't feel unfair. He feels very relentless and aggressive, almost like a Hunter from Bloodborne. He is just very aggressive, as if he has a rally mechanic on him or something, but he doesn't. He is very fun to fight. I think he's in a great fight. The fight as a whole is great, but this guy alone is super fun to fight, and again, I was honestly excited to fight him on every New Game Plus cycle. I love him. Okay, so I have a confession to make. I was absolutely torn between the number 1 and number 2 spot, between Lost Kid, The Blade of Judgment, and Ursula the Mutated. So I'm going to talk about both of them at the same time. Honestly, I think either one of these boss fights could take the number 1 spot. They are both amazing in their own way. They are both extremely good fights. Probably the hardest fights in the game, in my opinion, I would say. But they are really, they're challenging, they're fun, and they're fair. Hitting parries on these bosses feels satisfying. It doesn't feel by luck-based, it feels, you know, skill-based. It doesn't feel too easy either, definitely, on Ursula the Mutated more so. The spectacle of the Lost Kid fight is really good. The arena is beautiful, the area is beautiful, and just the arena where Ursula the Mutated takes place, you know, with a Dremel coming up, is just a bit of a shocker, quote-unquote shocker, although he does kind of give off that vibe, you know, where something's just off about him. I would say that both are extremely good fights in their own way. And I really do think that either one of them could take the #1 spot. But for the sake of ranking, I will put Ursula at #2 and Lost Kid at #1. But it really could go either way. They're both fun, they're both challenging, but fair. And again, I was super excited to fight these two every New Game Plus cycle. And I actually ended up fighting Ursula the Mutated last on my first ever playthrough because I didn't know she existed. She is a hidden boss, not required to beat the game, required for true ending though. And she is an amazing hidden boss, while Lost Kid is essentially the final boss, other than Ether and Charon, I guess. But I think Lost Kid is a much better final boss than those two combined, if I'm being honest. Both just incredible fights, and honestly, I would play the whole game again just to fight these two. That's how good they are. So, you've made it to the end of the video. Thanks a lot. If you skip to the end, fuck you, but if you could subscribe and like the video and leave a comment, that'd be pretty cool. And if you actually watch the entire video through, then great. Thanks a lot, I really appreciate it. This is the first fully edited video I've ever done in 5 years. So, you could say it's been a while. You know, over the past few years, I haven't really had the motivation to do YouTube as much as I used to, and all my videos I've privated / unlisted, so you will never see them ever again. They will never see the light of day, and I like to keep it that way. And it's probably kind of weird going to my channel and seeing a guy that posts exclusively music post this video out of nowhere, but I've recently gotten the urge to pick up content creation again, especially after playing the games I love and just talking about them so much, and many people have told me to get back into it and just talk, make a video, and you know what? That's what I'm doing. I'm talking and making a video about it. About something I love. This game is really fun. I would highly recommend to pick it up. The IGN review gave it a 5, so clearly that means the game is an 8. In my personal opinion, I would honestly give this game a 9. I feel like most people will probably give it a 7 or 8, but I think it's a 9. It is incredible. It has really good story. And of course, the bosses, which the bosses are probably one of the most talked about aspects of Souls-likes and Souls games. And this game has a lot of bosses that are some real stinkers, but it has some really highs. Really low lows and really high highs. Perfectly balanced, I would say. But anyways, thanks again for watching the video. Leave a like if you like it, dislike it if you didn't. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this in the future, because I'm planning to do more ranking videos, or just videos where I'm talking, just random bullshit, I guess. And leave a comment. Maybe I'll reply. Thanks for watching. See you later. And don't die. Someone really cares about you. They're out there. Somewhere.